Mastering the Commute, Episode 21, Speed Limits and Traps. What are we really following?
Traffic check.
Over the 55, a lot of people seem to be using this instead of the Santa Ana freeway.
And Randy Keith will be back in 6 minutes with more traffic.
Have you ever been on a road where the speed limit says 65, but everyone's going 85? And you wonder, am I the crazy one for doing 70? Welcome to Mastering the Commute. I'm Randy Keith, and today we're talking about speed in a different way than we did back in episode 4. There we were talking about the reasons why we speed. Today I'm going into how fast we go, why speed limits are set the way they are, and what's actually safe versus what's just legal. Now, quick programming note, I have new episodes now dropping every Thursday instead of Wednesday, so hit that follow button if you haven't already. And if you haven't checked it out yet, my new site, drivingwithrandy.com, is live, packed with narrated driving videos all over Central Florida. Real traffic, real conditions, and real talk. I certainly invite you to check out those videos. All right, let's get back to the topic and hit the gas on speeding. So speed limits aren't always rooted in physics. They're often rooted in politics. Most drivers don't realize that every road is engineered with a design speed. That's the speed traffic engineers determined was safe when the road was first built, assuming perfect weather, visibility, and vehicle performance. But then comes the posted speed, the sign you actually see, which is often lower. Why? Because lawmakers, police departments, and local city councils all get involved. The posted speed limit might be adjusted due to public complaints about speeding in nearby neighborhoods, crash history, even if it wasn't speed-related, noise concerns, especially near residential areas, political optics, officials wanting to appear tough on speeders, and budget decisions related to enforcement or speed camera placement. A 2017 study from the Institute of Transportation Engineers showed that 70% of roads in the U.S. have posted speed limits at least 5 to 10 miles per hour below their original design speed. I remember back in LA driving the 118 through Simi Valley, wide open, fresh pavement, and yet the limit was still 65. You could see clear for miles, but CHP was often posted up under almost every overpass. It was designed for 80, easy, but driving it like that was just asking to get pulled over. And I see so many other speed traps here in Central Florida, on Florida's Turnpike, especially with Highway Patrol camped out underneath the overpasses. So just because a road feels safe to go fast on doesn't mean you're free from a ticket. But it also doesn't mean the limit is always fair or current. So pay attention to traffic flow and road design. Know when you're on a trap-prone road versus a high-speed corridor. Let's get real. Speed traps aren't about traffic safety 100% of the time. They're often about revenue. In fact, some towns in the U.S. have been called out by watchdog groups and state audits for relying on traffic fines to fund large parts of their budgets. A 2021 analysis by Governing Magazine found that over 600 municipalities in the U.S. generate more than 10% of their revenue from traffic tickets. Some rely on them for 50% or more. One of the most infamous examples, New Rome, Ohio, a village of just 60 people that issued over 4,000 tickets a year before being dissolved by the state for corruption and abuse of traffic enforcement. Have you ever been caught in a speed trap? Maybe one that surprised you with a sudden speed drop, like from 55 to 35 in under 1,000 feet. Ooh, I got caught in one of those in Kansas City about 15 years ago. Well, speed traps are often found just past curves or hill crests, after ramps or transitions from highways to surface roads, near toll plazas, and certainly in tiny towns where you wouldn't expect a sudden drop. If enforcement was really about safety, we'd see better signage and design, not sudden drops and hidden cops. But hey, it's your wallet on the line. So to be smart, use Waze or Google Maps with speed trap alerts turned on, and always watch for speed limit drop signs before you exit a freeway or enter a new town. Now let's clear up a common misunderstanding. The speed limit is the maximum speed in ideal conditions. It's not a recommendation or a target. If it's raining, foggy, or the road is slick from oil buildup after a dry spell, the posted limit may be too fast for safety, or even illegal depending on your state. According to the U.S. Department of Transportation, nearly 22% of all crashes are weather-related, and wet pavement alone accounts for 70% of those. That means if you're doing 65 in a downpour and hydroplane into someone, you could be found at fault, even though you were doing the speed limit. So don't just follow the number on the sign. Read the road and the weather too. In wet or foggy conditions, drop your speed, double your following distance, and turn on your headlights even if it's daytime. Now, how fast is too fast? We've all heard the over 10 miles an hour rule. It's okay if I do 10 over, cops don't care. Sure, you might get away with it, but if you're the fastest one in the pack, you're the one that stands out. And if there's an accident, speed is one of the first things investigated. The NHTSA reports that speeding is a factor in 29% of all fatal crashes, killing over 12,000 people annually in the U.S. There's also the argument that going slower is more dangerous because it disrupts the flow of traffic, and I certainly agree with that assessment. And there's some truth to that, but only if you're unpredictable. The real key is predictability and positioning. Here are some tips to blend in smartly, and this is not just in adverse weather conditions. This is pretty much all the time. Stay in the correct lane for your speed, right or middle, not left. Avoid sudden lane changes or brake taps, and leave space ahead so you're not tailgating a speeder. Speed is less about the number and more about context, conditions, flow, visibility, and what other drivers are doing. I want to hear from you. Do you speed? When do you feel it's justified? And do you have a speed trap story or a crazy posted limit in your area? Drop me a message at freewaytrafficexpert@gmail.com. Or send me a message on my website where you can subscribe for your free copy of my new ebook, Mastering the Commute. You can find that at drivesmarternow.com. If you enjoyed this episode, like, subscribe, and please share it with a friend. And follow us on our social media at Mastering the Commute on YouTube and Facebook. Till next week, drive safe and drive smart. See you on the road.